Imagine a time long before memory, long before anything we might call life. Here, in the vast swirling chaos of a young solar system, our story begins. About 4.5 billion years ago, there was no Earth. There was only a cosmic cloud of dust and gas, the leftovers from the birth of our sun. Gravity, the silent, invisible architect of worlds, began its patient work. It pulled these tiny specks together. Grains became pebbles, pebbles became rocks, and rocks, smashing and crashing together in a celestial ballet of immense power, formed larger and larger bodies. This was not a gentle process. It was a time of unimaginable violence and heat, a cosmic construction site where a planet was being forged in fire. This growing sphere, this proto-Earth, was a hellish place. It was a molten ball of rock, glowing red-hot and constantly bombarded by asteroids and comets from the lawless frontier of space. The surface was not solid, but a seething, bubbling ocean of lava. Volcanoes erupted with ferocious intensity, spewing superheated gases into a thin, toxic atmosphere that would be instantly fatal to any life we know. There were no continents, no oceans, no gentle blue skies. This was a world still being born, its features shifting and reforming with every cataclysmic impact. It was a planet in its most primal, untamed state, a far cry from the home we recognize today. One of these impacts was truly monumental. A rogue protoplanet, perhaps the size of Mars, delivered a glancing blow to our young Earth. The collision was so stupendous that it nearly shattered our world. A colossal plume of vaporized rock and debris was flung into orbit. Over time, gravity once again worked its magic, pulling this ring of rubble together to form a smaller sphere. This sphere would become our constant companion, a silent witness to all that followed. It is, of course, our moon. Its creation left the Earth spinning faster and tilted on its axis, a tilt that would one day give our world its seasons, driving the rhythms of life. Slowly, over hundreds of millions of years, the relentless bombardment from space began to subside. The planet's immense internal heat started to radiate away into the coldness of space. A thin, fragile crust began to form on the surface like a skin on cooling soup. It would crack and shift, with molten rock bursting through, but it was a start. The heavier elements, like iron and nickel, were pulled by gravity down towards the planet's center, forming a dense, metallic core. This process was crucial. The liquid outer core would one day generate a powerful magnetic field, an invisible shield that would protect the nascent world from the sun's harsh solar winds, a vital prerequisite for the life that was yet to come. As the surface of the Earth continued to cool, a truly magical transformation began. The searing heat that once defined our world started to give way to something new. The gases that had been spewed out by countless volcanoes, including vast quantities of water vapor, hung thick in the primordial atmosphere. As the planet cooled below the boiling point of water, this vapor condensed. It began to rain, not for days or weeks, but for millions of years. This was the greatest deluge the world has ever known, a torrential downpour of cosmic proportions that slowly filled the vast barren basins, creating the first shallow global ocean under a sky of thick orange clouds. This young ocean was not the salty blue expanse we know today. It was likely acidic and a murky green or brown, rich in dissolved iron and other minerals leached from the volcanic rock. And yet, within these strange primordial waters, the greatest mystery of all was about to unfold. Sheltered from the harsh ultraviolet radiation of the young sun, simple chemical compounds began to interact in new and complex ways. We do not know precisely how or where it happened, perhaps in the bubbling cauldrons of undersea hydrothermal vents or in warm, shallow ponds. But somehow, miraculously, a molecule appeared that could make copies of itself. Life had begun. For billions of years, life remained incredibly simple. The first organisms were tiny, single-celled microbes, floating unseen in the planetary ocean. They were the only inhabitants of Earth for an immense stretch of time, longer than all the subsequent ages of complex life combined. But one group of these microbes developed a revolutionary new trick. They learned to harness the power of sunlight, a process we now call photosynthesis. In doing so, they began to release a waste product into the atmosphere. This waste product was oxygen, a highly reactive gas that was toxic to most other forms of early life. They were, quite literally, changing the world. The Great Oxidation Event, as it is now known, was a planetary-scale transformation driven by the smallest of creatures. The oxygen they produced first reacted with the iron in the oceans, causing it to rust and settle on the seafloor, forming the vast iron ore deposits we mine today. Once the oceans were saturated, oxygen began to build up in the atmosphere. This changed the very color of the sky from orange to blue. It created the ozone layer, a protective shield against ultraviolet radiation, and it paved the way for a new, more energetic form of life that could breathe this powerful gas. The stage was now set for a dramatic explosion of diversity. With an oxygen-rich atmosphere and stable continents, the pace of evolution quickened dramatically. Life, which had been confined to the oceans for billions of years, began to colonize the land. First came simple plants like mosses and ferns, creating the first soils and greening the barren rock. They were followed by insects and amphibians, pioneering a new way of living out of the water. This was the beginning of a new era, an age where life would grow to sizes never seen before or since. The world was becoming a stage for giants, and the most spectacular actors of all were about to make their entrance. These were, of course, the dinosaurs. For over 150 million years, these magnificent creatures were the undisputed masters of our planet. They diversified into an astonishing array of forms, from the colossal, long-necked sauropods that could shake the ground with every step, to the fearsome bipedal predators like the Tyrannosaurus rex, a killing machine of terrifying efficiency. They were not the sluggish, swamp-dwelling beasts of early imagination. They were active, dynamic animals that dominated every terrestrial ecosystem. They filled the skies with flying pterosaurs and the seas with powerful marine reptiles. The world thrummed with their presence. It was truly their planet. Yet no rain lasts forever. The Earth is a dynamic and sometimes violent world, and its history is punctuated by periods of catastrophic change known as mass extinctions. The age of the dinosaurs came to a sudden, dramatic end around 66 million years ago. The cause was an extraterrestrial visitor, a massive asteroid some 6 miles wide, traveling at an immense speed. It struck the Earth in what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact unleashed energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs, triggering a global firestorm, colossal tsunamis, and sending a thick cloud of dust and soot into the atmosphere. The sky went dark. Sunlight, the source of energy for all plant life, was blocked for months, perhaps years. Temperatures plummeted into a deep impact winter. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up. Plants withered and died, the herbivores that fed on them starved, and the carnivores that hunted the herbivores soon followed. The great dinosaurs, so perfectly adapted for their world, could not survive this sudden global catastrophe. Along with 3/4 of all species on Earth, they vanished, leaving behind only their fossilized bones as a testament to their long and magnificent reign. But their demise was not just an ending, it was also a beginning. In the shadow of the dinosaurs, a different kind of animal had been quietly surviving. They were small, furry, and warm-blooded. These were the first mammals. With the great reptiles gone, a world of opportunity opened up before them. They emerged from the undergrowth and diversified, rapidly evolving into the vast array of creatures we see today, from bats that command the night sky to whales that plumb the ocean depths. Among these mammals, a particular group that had taken to the trees in Africa, the primates, began a remarkable evolutionary journey. They developed grasping hands, forward-facing eyes, and increasingly large and complex brains. This lineage eventually led to a species that walked upright, freeing its hands to create tools. This was a pivotal moment in the history of life on Earth. For the first time, a creature could consciously shape its environment. These early humans were not physically imposing, but they possessed something new, a burgeoning intelligence and a capacity for cooperation and culture. They learned to control fire, to hunt in organized groups, and to communicate with developing language. Slowly they began to spread out of Africa, a great migration, that would eventually see them populate every continent on the planet, adapting to every climate from the frozen Arctic to the scorching desert, compared to the immense timescales of geology or the long reign of the dinosaurs. The story of humanity is a fleeting moment if the entire 4.5 billion year history of Earth were compressed into a single day. Our species, Homo sapiens, would appear only in the last few seconds before midnight. Yet in that incredibly short span of time, we have become the single most dominant force of nature on the planet. We have built cities that light up the night, we have dammed the great rivers, and we have learned to split the atom. We have even left our footprints on another world, the moon. Our intelligence has given us an unprecedented understanding of our world, from the fiery iron core thousands of miles beneath our feet to the delicate, life-sustaining balance of our atmosphere. We know that this planet is a rare and precious jewel, a lonely outpost of life in the vastness of the cosmos. Yet, our success has come at a cost, altering the climate and driving other species to extinction at an alarming rate. We have explored so much and learned a great deal, but the Earth still holds its secrets close. As we stand here today, one question remains more pressing than ever: how much do we truly understand about our world, and what will we do with that knowledge?